So I have an idea for a new project. As I get started kind of doing these videos, what I'm realizing is I need an easy way to create decent quality voiceover content, right? Now, I'm not going to pretend like these videos are super high production grade content because I'm shooting this stuff on an iPhone with these DJI mics to pick up audio. But one thing I was thinking about is how could I potentially maximize the audio quality when I'm doing voiceover content? Meaning, I'm just sitting stationary at my desk recording voiceover as I watch through these little project videos that I create, right? So, one thought I had was how could I design and print a stand dedicated for these little DJI mics? Because while these things are designed to be able to pick up audio exactly like I'm doing right now, I might be able to eke out a little bit more quality if I actually had the mic up and in front of my face so that it's catching my voice directly where it naturally projects. And I'm hoping that this also kind of mitigates any sort of echo effect because, again, I'm doing this in an extra bedroom. It's not exactly a very acoustically friendly environment, right? So let's see if we can design a little mic stand dedicated for these DJI mics to maximize their audio quality. So the first step to any design process is just to get our designs or ideas down on paper. Now, you don't need anything fancy to do this. As me and my design partner show you here, you can use some good old-fashioned Crayola markers to get some ideas down about exactly how we're going to design this little mic stand. So this thing has to have three parts. The first part is the actual interface with the DJI mic. And then I was thinking that it might make most sense to offer a few points of articulation so that we can position this mic exactly where we need it, while ensuring that the base doesn't take up too large of a footprint so that it fits on our tiny desk that we do this work on. Now, the second half to this design is designing some sort of mount for the receiver on our computer that we're doing this video editing work on. This should allow us to double check that we're receiving levels properly using the provided receiver for these DJI mics. Now, these DJI mics are kind of interesting in that they offer both a clip to clip them onto your clothes as well as the magnetic square where you can put them on your shirt with that too. I think it might make sense to leverage this little magnetic square somehow to allow the mic to easily slide on to the interface point for the mic stand. Now that we have our measurements and some rough sketches of what we think this mic stand can look like, it's time to translate these into our design software. In this case, I'm using Fusion 360 to get my ideas down in a software where I could eventually 3D print them. And I wanted to include this shot so you can see just how little space I'm working with here that we need to design this mic stand for. This isn't even a real desk. This is a little table that you're supposed to put behind couches or in entryways to drop keys on. But once I'm done designing this in Fusion 360, I send it over to Bamboo Studios, which allows me to print these on my Bamboo Labs P1S 3D printer. These parts are simply printed in a material called PLA, which is super easy to print with, and they don't necessarily need to be that strong for our use case. Once all the parts are printed, we can break off the supports and start to assemble. You'll notice that this stand requires minimal additional hardware, just a few screws and hex nuts to ensure that the joints are strong and they can be adjusted easily. I found these little suction cups with built-in threads on Amazon that I figure might act as good feet for this stand. So while it's sitting on a desk, they may not only act as vibration dampers, but would also allow me to mount the stand on a wall, for example, if there wasn't any desk space. Here you can see the feet of the stand. Here are the quick adjustable joints. And finally, here's how the mic actually interfaces with the stand at the top. And next I had to come up with a super simple solution for the receiver that actually plugs into my computer to receive input from the mic. For this, I just designed a tiny little clip which goes onto the cold shoe mount of the mic receiver and then actually just clips onto the side of the screen of my laptop so that I can easily see levels as they're coming in from the mic. Okay, so this is a test of using the mic just on my shirt like I normally would in a particularly challenging room. This is a big, just kind of open dining room, right? So there's a lot of echo. There's not a lot of sound dampening going on, and I have the mic on all of its stock settings. And the only thing that I did was turn the low cut filter off so that I can get, I think, the best possible quality. I've heard that that makes it sound a little bit muffled. So I'm speaking now so you can hear what it sounds like when I'm using the mic just clipped on my shirt. So here's what the mic sounds like when I'm speaking directly into it using the mic stand that we designed. And so I'm just going to keep on speaking to understand if this actually does anything to noticeably improve the quality of the audio using all of the same settings. Again, these types of mics, from what I understand, don't rely so much on the actual position, but I just want to understand if by moving the mic like this, we gain just even a little bit of audio quality so that we can use the same mic for things like voiceovers, as well as demonstrations when we're moving around and we need this sort of mic just clipped onto our shirt. So this is a test of what the audio sounds like when the mic is in its stand directly in front of me. Now, at the end of the day, I'll let you be the judge if you feel like this actually improves the quality to a noticeable amount, so that it was maybe worth putting it in this little stand versus just having it, on our shirt, like we would normally use one of these mics. And I understand too that the vast majority of the time, folks are listening to things like YouTube videos just on their phone or on their computers where the audio quality isn't necessarily that important as long as you're getting clear audio. I think that's the most important thing. So what I'm hoping is that this just gave us a tiny bit of improvement using the exact same setup without having to tweak the audio like crazy or use additional tools to clean up the audio, simply by moving the position of it to directly in front of my mouth when I speak. So if you found this content interesting, it means a ton if you like and subscribe to the channel, because I have a lot more little side projects like this, and those little likes on the videos are huge motivation to keep doing these sorts of things when it does take a lot of time. But I really think it's worth it because in addition to exercising creativity at my 9-to-5 at my day job, this little outlet allows me to find little problems and come up with interesting solutions and then share them with you here. And then ultimately get your thoughts. Just like I would love to get your thoughts on the micro recording setup that we designed in this video. So as always, thank you so much for watching.